This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 261 of the Stable Scoop Radio Show, Blazing a New Trail. Please support our sponsors as they make this show possible.
Our sponsor this week is Equisket.
Welcome to the Stable Scoop, with weekly shows delivered right to you. With Helena and Glenn the Geek, live from the stable, it's every week. They'll bring you the news through hail or high water, while using their tails as their own fly swatters. So sit on down and laugh till you poop, cause it's time again for the Stable Scoop. Stable Scoop. The Stable Scoop. Stable Scoop.
I'm Glenn the Geek.
And I'm Helena B., and you're listening to the Stable Scoop Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network.
It's always one of my most exciting Stable Scoops that we get to do is when we're introducing new hosts for a new show on the network.
And these are very special new hosts for a very special new show.
Yes, we're going to talk about that in a minute or two. We also have another guest coming up. Claudia Pfeiffer is brought to us by Elite Equestrian Magazine, and she works as a curator at the National Sporting Library and Museum in Middleburg, Virginia, and she's going to come up and talk to us about the library and their Munnings exhibit, which you knew something about. So,
I did, but not nearly as much as Claudia. She is, as we say here in New England, wicked smart. Wicked smart.
Yeah, people like that intimidate me.
Yeah, me too. I don't know why.
I don't either. So we're going to do that. Plus, I have a product review for you. Something a little different that involves human health this time. Something that I've been trying out and using that I want to recommend to everybody. So we're going to have all of that coming up on today's show. And I have to tell you, you and Jennifer both together last week came up with the name for my new pony, PT Scooter.
Oh my gosh, that was fun.
And PT Scooter is a big hit. Everybody loves the name. You did good.
Well, yeah. I should hope so. It's kind of my job.
You did good. It's very good, and I'm so happy you guys came up with that. So I've been calling him Scoot or Scooter.
Yay! Scoot's a good little short nickname.
Yep, Scoot. And it works. It's a double. It's kind of a pun, or what's that word? A cinnamon or cinnamon? It's a cinnamon.
Let's just go with cinnamon.
Yeah, it's a cinnamon.
A clove.
And so when you go out in the field and he's in your way, you go Scoot, and it means two things. So,
double entendre.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you.
Isn't that what that is? A double entendre.
Whatever.
Okay.
It's a cinnamon.
It's a cinnamon. It's a nutmeg. Wait, what were we talking about? Yeah.
The show's out of control already.
I know. We're surprised by what? The best thing about his name, though, is that if he does something really naughty, you can when you're happy with him, you can call him Scoot. And when you're serious and training him, it's Scooter. But when you're really mad at him, when you get mad at your kids, you can say, PT Scooter, get back here.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
Or when you're really, really mad, you could do poor thing Scooter. You can go full out with his given Christian name. Poor thing Scooter.
Well, so far he's been pretty good. And, I'm not the only one that has a new pony because one of the guests we have on a little bit later, one of the new co-hosts of the new show, just got one 2 days ago. So we're going to talk to her about that, too.
Yeah, she got a baby.
Yep. But first, let's go. Thanks to Elite Equestrian Magazine, who we work with once a month to provide a guest for our show and to talk about an article that has been in a recent magazine of theirs, and you can find it at eliteequestrian.us. In their most recent episode, there was an article about the Munnings exhibit at the National Sporting Library and Museum. And you were just in Middleburg. Did you get to go there? Middleburg, Virginia?
I did not get to go there. We went to Morven Park, and we got to go to the Museum of Hounds and Hunting. But we had not been to the National Sporting Library, which, after talking with Claudia, I am going to put that on my list of places to go next. It definitely sounds like a place where you can go and stick around for a while.
Yeah, and get lost in it. So let's talk to Claudia about the museum.
Well, welcome, Claudia, to the Stable Scoop Radio Show. I, for one, am happy to have an expert on because there's a lot of stuff out there, particularly artwork, that is beautiful, and I would love to know the history or origins of. So this is your gig, isn't it?
First of all, thank you for letting us have this opportunity. And I am actually in a very interesting spot here at the National Sporting Library Museum. I've been studying animal and sporting art for quite some time, over 15 years, but I haven't been on a horse since I was about 9 years old. So I know a lot about the artwork, but not as much about actually being on a horse.
We got to fix that. Jeez. There's a problem.
I got so wrapped up in doing my job, I just ended up not getting back into it.
There's no horses in Middleburg either, is there, Helena?
No.
Yeah, seriously, it's very difficult to find horses.
No opportunities there. Tell us about the National Sporting Library and Museum. What is it? What is it?
It was originally founded as a library in 1954, and specifically a repository for sporting books, started by George Orstrom Sr. and Alexander McKay Smith. Orstrom Sr. owned the Chronicle of the Horse. I'm sure you're familiar with that magazine. And McKay Smith was the editor there. And they, along with Fletcher Harper, who was the master of the Orange County Hunt, were the first ones to establish the library and start this collection of books, which has expanded actually to 24,000 titles of books, manuscripts, unpublished. Yeah, there's a lot. So the library itself is one of the top research facilities for turf and field sports in the world. We have a fellowship that's been running for several years now and have had over 40 scholars here taking advantage of our facility, and they have they're given a stipend and a place to stay, and they're allowed to apply once a year with topics. So that's something for consider listeners to look into. As far as the museum is concerned, though, that's pretty new. The museum opened in October of 2011. The idea for the museum started a long time before that, though. It was probably in the really building this collection of artwork that related to the books in our collection moved the facility towards the idea of establishing a museum to focus on the fine art as well. And that opened in a historic building called Vine Hill, which is here on the library campus. It was expanded. It's about 3 times as big as the original Federal House. And we have loan exhibition and permanent collection exhibits in this space.
My wife would get lost in there and never come out. I'd never see her again. I'd have to give her a tent and some food, and she loves old books about sporting and stuff. So she would
any place that has a person available whose brain you could pick about it. You know, there's what you find in the museum, and then there's the resources behind that item of interest, which is what really makes the National Sporting Library and Museum so interesting to people like Jen and me.
Yeah, the library is open to the public. I mean, we obviously have very focused books, but they're out on the shelves for everyone to come and take advantage of. We have beautiful reading rooms, and they're little niches with couches, and it's really inviting for people to spend the day and pick through our holdings. We also have a rare books room that can be scheduled for a tour with our librarian, Lisa Campbell. And we have books that range back into the 16th century, so some of the oldest titles on the topic, too.
So you have a permanent art collection, and part of that collection is what we were going to talk to you about today, and that's works from an artist by the name of Alfred Munnings. Is that right?
Alfred Munnings, the exhibition that we have right now is actually primarily comprised of loans. We do have one of our paintings from our permanent collection in that exhibit. So we have permanent collection displays in the historic part of our museum called Vine Hill, and then we have it's expanded, and there are 2 large galleries that we use for loan exhibitions. And we organized an exhibition called Munnings Out in the Open, which features 68 paintings by Alfred Munnings, who is a very well-known 20th century equestrian artist, British. And we have institutional loans and private loans in this exhibition, including 7 paintings from the Alfred Munnings Museum, Sir Alfred Munnings Museum, which is in Dedham, England, and that was Munnings' house and studio for much of his life. We also have loans from the Philadelphia Art Museum, the National Museum of Racing, 7 loans from the Yale Center for British Arts, a very important painting from Pebble Hill Plantation in Thomasville, Georgia. And so it's a really wide variety of paintings that people are very familiar with from Munning's background, and then also several private collection loans that haven't actually been out in view.
Now, he has done a ton of paintings, and he was, to give people a time perspective, he was born in 1878 and lived till 1959. And he was actually knighted at some point. He's Sir Alfred Munnings. But he did a lot of different things, as you said, that involved horses and things, but also military. I know that he did a couple of charges and things like that. Do you have any of were they all military? Tell us a little bit about his work.
He did as you said, he did a very wide variety of painting. Equestrian is obviously what he's known most for, but he also did portraits and a wide range of landscapes. He thought of himself as following the English landscape tradition. Artists like Constable was really one that he really held at a high standard that he was trying to follow. But he was a sporting artist in what he did. Fox hunting scenes, scenes of the countryside in England. Steeplechasing and racing. He followed steeplechasing and racing from his first race that he attended in 1899, and one of his last paintings was called The Runaway, and was a horse racing scene in 1957. He also did portraits of his wife, and scenes of gypsies. The gypsies in England were following the racing scenes, and so he was introduced to gypsies fairly early in his painting career, and found them a lot of, I think, very interesting just from their visual aspect. And
very colorful.
Yeah. And also in really beautiful pastoral scenes of cattle at water and pigs and barnyards, and really a gamut of the animal and sporting life in England, really. And he also, at the height of his outdoor activity when he was sort of in the early 1910s, he actually went so far as to buy a gypsy caravan, and he hired a gypsy by the name of Shrimp, nicknamed Shrimp, to accompany him on these excursions where they would actually have a band of ponies that they would take out into the Ringland Hills, and they'd be out for literally the entire summer painting out in the open and creating scenes for Munnings to paint there in sand pits and all across the countryside.
Wow. And there's one thing I've learned, Helena, watching Antiques Roadshow, is when a curator says the word important, it means expensive. And I've learned that. And then you count the number of importance in their little segment, and you can just see the price tag going up. And I'm looking here, one of his highest prices paid for a Munnings was $7.8 million in 2007, and then there's been $4 and $5 million paid. So important's a good word, then, in this case.
He definitely is a highly collectible artist in that regard, and important in the sense in the 20th century for sporting art, because he brought sporting art to a more general audience in the modern art movement. So that was really a transition for sporting art into the 20th century. And you'd mentioned that he was knighted at one point. He was also, the knighting happened as a result of him being made president of the Royal Academy, which was a really big deal. He was the first sporting artist in 250 years to attain that status. And he was a really anti-modern art, but he also had very strong leanings in that regard. He liked to use very impressionistic techniques that we see, and so he was in a really interesting time period, sort of in the art historical context as well, and was quite a character in the art movements of the time.
Now, where did he get his subject matter from? I mean, obviously, there's no shortage of inspirational imagery in the fox hunting world, in the sporting world. Where was he most inclined to be inspired?
He was a countryman from the beginning. He grew up in a rural area of East Anglia. He in a working mill. His father owned a mill, and so he looked at the things that were in his backyard. So his earliest paintings were of the villagers there and the countryside scenes. And then he started following the Norwich Staghounds fairly early on, and was exposed to that stag hunt and started painting from that idea, and then started fox hunting. His experiences with fox hunting lent him material. Really what he saw as he sort of traveled through his life. And he also, as I mentioned, spent a lot of time through his life at races and steeplechases and looked to that for fodder for paintings. His landscapes really were, some of them were literally in his backyard. He would look to right where he was and be inspired by what he saw. And he painted his wives. He had 2 wives in his life. His first wife, Florence, that he met in Lamorna. And then his second, she passed away. She killed herself, actually, after 2.5 years. And then his second wife, which is the one that most people recognize in his paintings beginning in 1920 through the time that he died, her name was Violet. And she was an avid fox hunter, and she also competed, and she was really cut quite a figure on a horseback, and she rode both aside and astride. She was a really avid fox hunter and had an impressive stable of hunters that she brought to their marriage, and he also kept horses, and he looked to his own horses as models for a lot of the paintings that he did, including racing scenes.
Wow. I am now inspired to take a trip down and come visit the museum and maybe have a private chat with you. The museum is where is it located? When are folks able to come and visit, and where can we find some more information?
Well, we're in Middleburg, so we're about 50 miles west of Washington, D.C. We are in the rural area, so you kind of get out of the city and get to see the countryside. We're in the heart of hunt country here, so and heart of horse country. And the museum is open Wednesday through Sunday. Wednesday through Saturday is 10 to 4. Sunday is noon to 4. The library does have different hours. The library is open Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 4, and then, through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 1 to 4. And they're closed on Sundays. They also have a Munnings exhibition that's running a couple more weeks that relates to material in our library and rare books holdings about Munnings. We have a first edition of his autobiography that he drew sketches in, and there's some great correspondence that he wrote on different paintings and prints that relate to the exhibition as well.
Excellent. And what's the website?
Website is www.nsl.org. That's for National Sporting Library for short, www.nsl.org.
Great. And we'll post links to that up on stablescoop.com. Well, Claudia, we can't thank you enough for coming on and introducing our audience to your organization and to Munnings. And I mean, I just learned a boatload. So, Glenn, what do you think? We have a trip back to Middleburg on our list of things to do.
You know what this makes me really want is the next season of Downton Abbey. It's really what makes me want.
Well, the drama about his wife killing herself. And,
I know, I'm dying here. Just what I thought of as Downton Abbey, and that was the same time he lived through that. Yeah,
I know.
Ugh.
Thank you very much, Claudia.
Well, thank you very much.
Glenn the Geek here. The life of horse person is hard enough, and we all hate doing the required paperwork, and unfortunately many of us never get around to it, and it just piles up on our desk. That is about to change thanks to the EquiSketch Records app for your iPhone or iPad. My wife and I use it to track our horses, and we absolutely love this thing. EquiSketch Records is the most thorough and complete equestrian records app on the market today. We love this app because you can track your farrier work, your dental, your coggins, medicines, worming, and so much more. And you can get reminders on your device when all of these things are due. You'll never forget a worming or shots or farrier visit again. But it not only tracks your horse, you can also manage your horse shows, including individual events. You can manage riders, including lessons and memberships, and so much more. And you can sync it between your iPhone and your iPad, and all of this for the price of a couple of cups of coffee from Starbucks. Search for EquiSketch Records in the iOS App Store or go to equisketch.com. That's EquiSketch.com. EquiSketch.com. Well, I'm so excited. You know, I get excited like this, I realize, every time we introduce a new show to the network. But this is kind of a special show. It's something that we haven't done before, and There's a couple special people that are taking care of it and co-hosting it. It's our first kids radio show.
Yeah, we really wanted to bring the kids market into the Horse Radio Network, and we wanted to do it in a very particular way. We really wanted it to be special. We wanted it to be well thought out, and bing, bang, boom. We needed a partner that really knew the kids market, Really knew the kids market, yeah.
You know about kids but I've never had kids, so, I'm kind of lost on that topic.
You're just an inner kid.
Yes. You never grew up.
Get it. Right. You're a 12-year-old in a year old's body.
Yeah.
But, so we found Jeff and Jessica who, both know just a little bit something about kids. And, I'm really excited because Grace is going to get a chance to listen to this. She really now has a chance to connect with the Horse Radio Network. That's a whole nother generation of horse-loving people out there.
And she's about the age demographic. This show is designed for the 8 to 14-year-olds.
Yep.
Wouldn't you say that, you would listen to the first episode, wouldn't you say that fits 8 to 14 probably?
Absolutely.
And adults. I mean, a lot of adults are listening and enjoying it too because it's so fun and different than anything we've done before.
It is. It's easy to listen to, so the content is, for me, when I listen to the Horse Radio Network shows, I just download everything, I just sync up my iPod. So when I'm mucking stalls, I listen to everything. And when one show ends, the next one fires right up. So this is one of those nice, easy listening shows for adults because it's got fun facts and great little stories. So yeah, I think it's going to go beyond the age demographic. I think it'll bring everybody in.
Terrific. This is Jeff. He is the publisher of Blaze Magazine for Horse Crazy Kids and now a co-host of Blaze Kids Radio, and also Jessica, who is his 12-year-old co-host, and she has a surprise. Where we're so excited to have the newest hosts on the Horse Radio Network with us today. It's become a habit here on the Stable Scoop Show to introduce you to the newest hosts of all the shows that come on the network. And today we have with us Jeff and Jessica of the Blaze Kids Radio Show. Good morning, guys.
Hi.
Good morning, Glenn.
Good morning.
Well, now, Jeff, you're not a kid, so let's start with you, and then we'll go over to Jessica. But you do have a lot to do with kids, and that is in the form of Blaze Magazine for Horse Crazy Kids, and it's been around for a long time.
Well, it has, yes. And I have surrounded myself with young people to help me with that publication, both from, coaching us on what kind of stories are of most interest to our readership, what kind of photos should go in, helping us kind of vet the contests and all the great stories and poems and pictures and artwork that comes in from kids. So, it's thrilling, and it's really exciting to be part of the Horse Radio Network now as an extension of Blaze Magazine.
Well, I want to welcome you to the network. Helene and I both do. I've always had in the back of my mind that it would be fun to have a kids show sometime, and you've brought that to life, and it is fun. Helena got to listen to it, and I got as a producer to do things we don't get to do on the adult shows, which is put in sound effects and all the corny little things I've wanted to do in a show. You've given me the opportunity to play with, so thank you for that.
It's the perfect excuse to bring out your inner goofball.
I've had all these sound effects sitting around of horses winning and trotting and galloping, and I haven't been able to use them. So this is great.
with the permission of our kids committee, you could send in an application, Glenn, to perhaps join that group and keep working that inner child.
Well, my wife, who I've been married to for 25 years, says I never grew up, so I probably would fit right in there.
You would. You could be on the kids committee. But tell us a little bit about that. What really we have the show, and Jeff, you have plenty of experience appealing to a younger audience. How do you, sometimes there are those of us who grow up and we lose touch with what's important to the next generation. How do you stay in touch, and how do you keep what's important to them at the front of your mind as you work with Blaze Kids Radio?
It's a really good question. I've been in publishing for 20-some years, so I'm far from being a kid. But it's all about audiences and what is of interest to them and what's relevant. So as I talked briefly about on our first show, I bought a horse as a grown-up, started taking riding lessons, and of course I was there on Tuesday nights with a lot of young ladies, ages 10, 11, 12, 13, and together we came up with the idea of a magazine, a discovery magazine for kids their age, all about horses and kids who love them. And the agreement 10 years ago, when the magazine started, was that they would help me with, as I said earlier, with the content and the language and the fun that should be in a magazine like that. And, of course, the members of the Kids Committee has changed, but we still have a fine group of young kids that direct us the whole way.
Now, your mascot for the Blaze magazine is Blaze, who is a Rocky Mountain horse. And is Blaze real?
Blaze is real, and she's 10 as well. She was born within a month of the launch of the magazine, so they track along at the same age, and she's fabulous. Kids from across the country, across North America, have come to visit her. We work and live near Niagara Falls, so a lot of people travel through this area, and when they get a chance, they come and visit Blaze here at the Blaze Barn or the Blaze headquarters. So she's a terrific representation for us.
So, Helena, they're growing old together, and I've noticed the magazine getting a little grayer on the snout. So,
you're not looking at the publisher's picture, are you?
Well, let's go over to Jessica. Now, Jessica, I think, am I right? Did we sort of discover you on Facebook?
I kind of discovered, my friend told me about how they were having, you could try out to be a co-host on Blaze Kids Radio, and I was getting Blaze magazine for my birthday, so I decided, that'd be cool to try out, and so I gave it a call, and then nobody answered. Then I tried again, and then somebody answered after after Jeff left the message for me. I called back, and then he said that I'd probably be a good fit. And then it kind of went on from there, and then had a couple more calls, and eventually I became the co-host.
Well, we're glad you did, too. We got to do the first show together. It is live right now on BlazeKidsRadio.com, episode number 1. Were you nervous?
Yes.
Me too, Jessica. Me too.
We're still nervous. Glenn and I are on what? 5? How many? Almost 300 episodes.
3,000. I don't know.
Right.
Yes.
Whatever we got. We still get nervous. But it sounded like you've got some really good, fun information and stories. I loved the horsey facts going back and forth between you guys. Did you do a little bit of research? Did you dig into, these fun facts, and was it fun?
Well, if I could speak for Jessica, one thing that really impressed me when we kind of had the interview to be the co-host is just how knowledgeable she is about horses and how much she reads and researches. And we thought for a 12-year-old young lady going on 13, that was kind of an incredible contribution she could make to the show. Blaze Magazine itself is all about that. We have pages and pages of fun facts over the years that we can draw from. So we're very fortunate in that spot. We have a lot of just great content at our fingertips, you might say. But together, Jessica and I kind of pull that together, and again, she'll be, as part of our kids committee, advising what would be of most interest to our listeners as we go forward.
Well, now Jessica has some exciting news this week. She has had a heck of a week. Not only is she co-hosting an international radio show for the first time, she got a new pony. Tell us about it.
Well, Jasper is a 3-month-old miniature colt, and he has quite a lot of personality.
You got him, 2-3 days ago?
Yeah.
And have you left the stall since then? Do you at least go take a shower and go to bed at home?
Yes.
Okay.
I eat dinner. I usually eat dinner and take a shower at home and sleep, and then I come here by 7 in the morning. Today I was a little bit later because I'm kind of getting tired from staying so much and running around him. and he actually already does some jumping over jumps.
How tall is he? He's not very tall, is he?
No, I'd say he's a little bit bigger than my 22-inch dog right now.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Does he have do you have a sense of his personality yet?
Yeah, he has quite a lot of colors.
That's politically correct way of saying he's a naughty little boy.
Yeah.
His little feet are so tiny. Little mini foals are so cute because everything's just so tiny.
Well,
Yeah.
Jessica, you said something to us when we first got logged onto the show, but before we went on air, where is he right now?
He's in Garnet Valley, PA at the barn that I ride.
Oh, I thought you said he was at your feet.
Now, where is he right now, Jessica? Right now.
Right now he's standing next to me.
Okay. And the truth comes out.
Can you make him whinny for us? Does he whinny on command?
Not yet, but once I let him out of his stall, he might do a little bit of a whinny. I'll work on that, see if I can do it by the time.
All right.
There's a project for you.
Yeah.
See if you can get him to whinny on command for your radio show. That would be sweet.
We could have a third co-host for the show. I think that'd be
Yes!
great. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And maybe we could, I know personally I would be interested in following his progress as a well-behaved miniature horse. The adventures of.
Yeah.
Now, is this your first horse, Jessica?
Yeah.
Well, I'm so excited.
Yes.
I know you've been riding for a long time and taking lessons and things, but I also knew this was your first horse. So we're so excited that we get to launch the show at the same time you get your new horse, because I know there's listeners already have posted that they can't wait to follow that. And you have a Facebook page as well. So tell everybody how they can find your Facebook page so they can follow the adventures of Jasper.
Well, you just go to Facebook if you have a Facebook account, and you look up Jess Blaze Kids Radio, and you can follow his progress along with the show. Stop biting my feet.
He's such a mini.
Oh my God. I'm going to be in love with this.
That's funny, Jeff. He is such a mini. I got a new little pony a month ago too, so I'm going through the same things you're going through. And believe me, it doesn't matter how old you are. I'm a little older than you. It doesn't matter how old you are. You're still excited when you get your new little pony. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
I've been spending as much time with him as I can. Jeff, if we could go back to you for a minute, before there was Blaze Magazine 10 years ago when it first started. You were involved in something, and we haven't talked about this on the air before. You're a former Paralympic athlete and a gold medal and world record setting sprinter.
That is true. Yes, I had an athletic career, a track career, before I got into the publishing career. And that lasted about 12 years. I was a member of the Canadian Paralympic team on 3 occasions. We competed in New York in '84, in Seoul, Korea in 1988, and then I finished up in 1992 in Barcelona, Spain. And then it was time to go to work. So a different kind of work, actually. So yeah, I set the world record in my class, and what that means is, make it simple. An arm amputee would not run against a leg amputee. That just wouldn't be fair. And I think a lot of people know much more about the Paralympics today than they did back then. So I would run against arm amputees like myself. And ran, actually, the record still stands. I was a 400-meter sprinter. And what I ran in Seoul back in '88 has not yet been broken by another double-arm amputee like myself. So it's a pretty long-standing honor, and the glory days are nice to return to someday. That's for sure.
How cool is it to be at the Olympics, let alone 3 of them?
It was. It was an absolutely great time in my life. There was lots of travel and, hard work, obviously, but enjoyable hard work with the rewards that came my way.
Now, you're a double-arm amputee. Do you have prosthetics, or how do you function?
Yep, I wear 2 artificial arms all day long, and they do absolutely everything I tell them to do. So very independent.
That's better than my arms and feet. Brain.
I just went on a long bike ride over the weekend with my brother-in-law, and he was complaining about how his forearms were hurting. And he asked how mine were doing, and he didn't even think. I mean, when people know me well, it's they often, I wouldn't say it's a faux pas, but just forget.
You got to laugh at him, though, didn't you?
Well,
I don't have that problem.
I said, yours is going to take a couple of days. Mine, I'm just heading back home, and I've got a couple of loose screws in my wrist and my elbow, and I'll have those fixed up,
a little oil
before dinner time. A little oil, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you thought about doing para riding?
I have, and I have been encouraged to. I don't think of the horses I have, any of them would be that caliber, but.
Blaze isn't doing dressage tests. His Rocky Mountain self is not doing dressage tests anytime soon.
No, she's just getting loved on by everybody that comes to visit. But it certainly isn't out of the realm of possibility. It would be such a thrill to go back to the Paralympics, and I would need four legs of a horse to ever compete again. Mine are just not up to snuff that they were.
Well, now you were a track, and a runner. Have you run since, or is it like, that my days of running are over? I'm not doing that ever again.
Well, interestingly, I won a bronze in Barcelona and finished off my career that way, and that was I knew that day that was going to be it, and that would be my last Paralympics, and I never competed in track competitively after that. But an athlete is an athlete, and you can't hold us back too long. So I found other sports. I play soccer, and I like to do 5Ks and 10K runs, and play some baseball. So filled in the blanks with other sports.
There you go. Well, we are so excited, Helene and I, and everybody here at the Horse Radio Network are so excited about the new show. You can listen to it at blazekidsradio.com. The first episode is out. Head on over there. You also find it at horseradionetwork.com, and it's going to be, it hit, I'm good news for you, Jeff. I noticed it was on my Android, the app for the Horse Radio Network, which you can get just by searching Horse Radio Network at the App Store. I noticed that Blaze is now on there, and it's supposed to hit the iOS App Store today or tomorrow. So we're getting you all set up. iTunes is approved. We'll get that set up today. So you're rocking and rolling.
Well, fantastic. And thank you, Glenn and Helena, for all your support in helping us kick it off. We, as I said, we are really excited, Jessica and I, to have some great features, great stories, great guests for our young and young at heart listenership.
Well, Jessica, it's been so much fun having you and Jasper on the show here today. Good luck with your little mini horse.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
If you want to see a picture of them together, we'll post it on our Stable Scoop on the show page for today as well.
And this Tack and Habits segment is sponsored by Chasing a Fox. You can find them at chasingafox.com or follow along on Facebook where all the action is happening. Chasing a Fox, it's a fashion guide for fox hunters and their friends.
And we're going to see you this weekend, thanks to the American Equestrian Trade Association show in Philadelphia. We get to hang out with Helena. We don't get to do that too often in person, so it's going to be fun.
I am over the moon about this. You have no idea. My face is lit up. My cheeks are so big, my eyes are squinty.
You promised us the biggest hugs ever, and we're going to take you up on that,
The biggest hugs ever. Yes.
And yes. Helena may be little, but she's mighty.
Yeah, I'm scrappy too. I can take a hit, man.
This Tack and Habit product is something. Now, we don't offer health advice for humans or horses for that matter. Everything we tell you is our opinion, so let me qualify that. So it's my opinion that I went on a diet a couple months ago because of the Lyme.
It's my opinion
that I went on a diet.
Okay.
That's a fact, actually. I went on a diet a couple of months ago, and I read a diet book that was recommended by one of our listeners, actually, after we did that Lyme show. She wrote and said, you have to buy this book, and I did. And I've been following that diet that was in the book. I never had a book 10 years ago when I lived up by you to do it, So we had it this time. And one of the things they recommend is because you're cutting out so many things. They cut out all sugars, processed sugars. You cut out all gluten products, so anything that, has wheat or yeast or anything. So what you're eliminating, you lose a lot of protein in your diet, and you can become very tired on this diet. Yes, you do eat meats, but they're not, they're not at every meal. They're, one meal a day you can have a protein that's meat in the meat form. So it's a lot of greens, and it's very vegetarian that way. And one of the things that vegetarians have to worry about also is energy because of the lack of protein in the diet. And one of the things that they recommended, and I had never done this before ever in my life, and I always made fun of those people who made smoothies and green shakes and put, vegetables in their shakes, and, they just looked gross, and they looked like they tasted gross. And I don't know if you've ever done them, but...
yeah, I have, and once, and was like, bleh.
Yeah, and just that's right.
Gross.
Exactly.
Give me a steak. Give me a steak with butter on it and whipped cream.
Well, this one that they recommended in the book is called Veggie Protein. It's 100% all natural. There's no artificial flavors or sweeteners. It's gluten-free. It's vegan, actually. No preservatives of any kind. So that's why they recommend it. They call it a dietary supplement, as they do all of these protein shakes. But it's not like the ones you buy at the grocery store that are meant for the bodybuilders, that have all kinds of extra crap in them. This has no preservatives and none of the crap.
Yeah, no bulk.
Exactly. So it's made to give you a little bit of extra energy and replace some of the minerals and things that you're missing when you do a diet like mine. So I knew I needed it. It's rich in omega-3, 6s, and 9s, and it gives you 7 servings of fruit in a low glycemic form by just doing this shake once a day. So it really does do the trick. And for those that aren't on sugar anymore, if I eat something now that has any amount of sugar in it, I get a headache immediately because I've been off of sugar for a couple months now.
Right.
So I tried an alcoholic beverage the other day, like a strawberry daiquiri, and it just about killed me for 2 days. It really did wipe me out. The sugar in it just wiped me out.
Was it like a commercial grade daiquiri? From a mix or something? Yeah.
Yes, but it probably had 50 grams of sugar in it,
Exactly.
And that was way too... I really was in bad shape for the next 2 days.
You can get organic drinks like that. They have, instead of
Organic alcohol?
Actually. No. Instead of having high fructose corn syrup or those simple syrups, you can get these are called simple syrups. You can get an agave sweetened drink instead of sugar sweetened drink, which is helpful. You still may feel some effects because sugar, but
yeah, right.
This is a way less headache provoking option. Trust me.
Well, this one, this veggie protein, I've been doing it 2 months now, and I love it so much that I recommended it to about 5 different people who have now started on it. It absolutely does wonders for me. I used to be a 5-hour energy drink user because, I work 100 hours a week, and I have to be alert for the shows. And one of the things I discovered was when I was having a bad Lyme day, if I had to do a show, either the morning show or, the show with you, I would do an energy drink if I was having a bad Lyme day, and it would help me get through it. Whatever was in the energy drink would really give me that boost I needed to clear my brain and get through the show. Well, I haven't really done energy drinks since I started on this, and it's much better for me than the energy drinks were. So it really does work. I do half. It calls for 1 scoop in the morning. You mix it with milk, and I happen to use rice milk, but you mix it with milk, and I put a little honey in it, and then I just do it in the blender. Now Jennifer has started on it now and noticed a big difference in her energy level, and she does it in the morning, and she puts fruit in with it. She puts frozen peaches and frozen berries and things, and makes an actual smoothie out of it.
Yep.
And she loves it, and she doesn't eat anything else for breakfast now. That's filling enough for her and she's a big breakfast eater.
Protein will do it. Protein fills you up, and it keeps you going for most of the day. It's true.
Well, I divide mine in half. I actually use half in the morning, and then in the afternoon what I do is I use the other half in my milk, and I add a bunch of ice to it so it comes out like a Frosty. And it really comes out sort of like ice cream. So it's a treat for me. It's the closest I get. We get by the chocolate flavor. They have it in chocolate and vanilla. And you want to know one of the key parts to this is... It's only $17 a month. A lot
Oh, wow.
of these are $50. You go to the store and see some of these boosters and things, they're like $50 per tub. This is $17 a month. I get it on Amazon Prime, and just it comes in and we use it. So it's really
Nice.
done well. And as I said, I'm not telling you that it's going to work for you. I'm just saying it really does work for me. And for people who think they might not need it or they're a little draggy in the morning or even in the afternoon, it just has worked well for us.
Great. Well, I'm going to give it a try.
Yeah, and we'll post a link to it on Stable Scoop. We have a friend who's 28 years old, single mother, working 2 jobs, has drank a lot of coffee. She would get up and have 6 cups of coffee before lunch and eat no food. And I talked to her about this, and she said, I need it for the energy. And I talked to her about this. Since she's gone on this, she's back to 2 cups of coffee a day. And she said her energy level is 100% better than it was before. And I know that this has got to be better for her than coffee. So,
All right. Then we're going to give it a try.
all right. It's
We're gonna
called
give it a try.
Veggie Protein. It's from MRM. We'll post a link to it in our show notes as well. And don't forget, when you go buy it at Amazon, click on our Amazon link on the left side of the page at stablescoop.com. We get a little bit of credit for everything you buy if you click on there first. Well, Helena, that's going to wrap up our show today. You can check out all the great shows on our app at the iPhone or Android store. Just search for Horse Radio Network. And that's it. We're out of here.
We
Say
are
goodbye.
out of here.
See you this weekend.
We will see you this weekend. Thanks, everybody, for listening. There will be more next week. Until then, happy scooping.